all watchers and viewers of the channel, our channel, Film Gamer channel. And this time I am really proud and really happy about it that we can arrange this interview with Borislav Slavov, the composer of Baldur's Gate 3 and Divinity Original Sin 2. Thank you for the participation. Hi.
Hello, Andrew, and first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to join you. It's a real pleasure because, as I told you earlier, I love Hungary, and it was a pleasant surprise for me when you got in touch.
Oh, thank you. It was a really great pleasure for me and almost a dream come true, if I can say so, in 5 years, I think. And firstly, I want to go back in time and talk about the process of how you became a composer and why and when. What would the main things about it that cause you that choose this profession? So
okay, so that's a really lovely story because I don't know if you're familiar with my background, but I haven't had a chance to study in a music academy. Honestly, I never had a chance to study music in my childhood, even though I was always dreaming about playing different types of instruments. But my life went in a completely different direction when I was a little kid. And as a matter of fact, I'm a master of computer science by education. So big part of my life, I wasn't able to follow my dream, and I wasn't able to pursue my dream to become a composer. But one beautiful day, I woke up and I decided it was about time to stop doing anything that I wasn't really liking and just to follow my heart. And that was the moment I got to the bank, withdrew all the money that I had at that moment, and I bought my humble equipment at that time. And it was a lot, and it was many, many years ago, almost like 20 years ago. Yeah.
It's hard to achieve. Yeah, it was a risk sometimes at first. At the start is the hardest part sometimes. Yeah.
It is always a risk, but the alternative is to do all your life something that you're not truly in love with, and something that is not you. And there is a simple thought about it. It was something like, life is too short to do something that you're not happy with. Luckily for me, I got the courage. I don't really know how. If you ask me now, 20 years later, I think that it was a crazy thing to do. But back then, it was feeling like the best and the right course they had to. And I'm very, very happy that.
So today it seems that it was harder and more freaking in some ways that when you done it was almost easier. Let's do it. And nowadays it seems harder. It felt harder to do that.
Yes. There is something else that I keep as a rule in my life. When I have to take a really important decision in my life, like any other people out there, I tend to think a lot. I need to consider all the different options. I need to take all the information I can get so that I can make a well-informed decision at the end of the day. So I think a lot, but the moment I take the decision, I try not to think anymore about if it was the right decision and how hard it would be to follow my decision. So I think up until the moment I take the decision, then I get to the point I want to go, and I never stop, and I do my best not to turn back and to think too much about it, because the more you think about the past and the more you think about your fears, the less your chances are to succeed. And
and also it's bad for your health in a long way. Yeah.
Definitely. So when I took this decision, I started to develop myself as a composer, and of course, as you can imagine, at the very beginning, I was working on small projects, but they meant the world to me, because every single game I was composing music for made me immensely happy, because it was giving me the chance to express myself musically and to do what I truly loved. And I don't know if you've heard, but in the first years I did a lot of small games. One of those was called Larva Mortus. It was a flash game, a very, very nice small game, which I'll never forget, because the score for this one was orchestral, even though the game was small flash action game. And
it's good to see that sometimes, you know, these type of games not use quite big orchestra, or maybe just some type of instrument, maybe just guitar or something like that, drums, and that's all. But sometimes they have also the risk, they choose the way to do in a new fashion way. So and it's good to hear that sometimes these action type of games use that type of music, the bigger orchestra. So yeah,
it's really
great.
good. Yeah, I totally agree with you that nowadays more and more development teams decide to go and for a orchestral score, and this makes me very very happy, because the people, the composers, my fellow composers, raise the bar every single day, and makes it very challenging to stay up there.
But you are not a competitor sometimes, now. It's friendlier than that, yeah? Or sometimes you envy on something or something like that between each other, or something like that, or feel something that maybe you choose a different way to do that music, or he or she do the same with your works. So it's just very interesting.
Oh yeah, it's very inspiring. One of the things that makes me truly inspiring is to listen to soundtrack music in general. And every time when I play a game, and especially when the music makes me happy and makes me and enhances my experience with the game, this is something that inspires me and provokes me to go back to my composing board, to my composing table, and to come up with new ideas and to compose new pieces of music. I believe that music inspires music, and that's why
you are developing each other. I would
totally agree with you. This is a really nice way to put it in. We develop one another simply because we inspire one another, and that's why I'm very happy when to see nowadays that the Fellowship of Composer more than ever is sharing thoughts, experience, and music.
Yeah, on this music game festival. Yeah, it's really, really great idea from Roklav, from Mateus, and so it was a really good decision to make that we will get one big video game music festival each year. I hope there will be more and more in Europe.
Truly hope so, because there are so many people, it seems, who love the video game music, and the festival in Wrocław was an amazing event, an absolutely amazing event. And the guys there did a heroic deed, as you already know. In these crazy times of COVID madness, they managed to achieve something so big. I don't know if you're aware of the fact that 100,000 people were watching the live.
Yeah, I heard about it, and I too, of course. Yeah, it was really what a beautiful event.
Absolutely unbelievable.
And there were some crowd also, there's some audience, but just maybe 100 or something like that. There were some audience, 100 people or something like that also.
I believe 700 people were there, but I might be wrong, of course. But it doesn't really matter, as long as there are so many people in Europe and in the world who truly love video game music, not only because that's the main reason to me, and one of the reasons I'm so in love with my work and with composing video game music, is that this is the way the people relieve their favorite moments from their favorite games. When you play your game, when you love and enjoy a game, it's one thing. But let's say a month later, when you listen to the score, this is your way to go back in time. Enjoy your
sometimes nostalgia, sometimes favorite scenes, sometimes favorite characters.
To relieve your favorite moments, and to immerse yourself once again in the world you love so much. And that's why I think that the music is one of those really important things of the game universes, which
I can only agree. That's why I want to promote more, the soundtracks of video games and movies. And sometimes I achieve that. So there are more bigger audience for the soundtracks, I think, nowadays than ever. So that's good.
Yeah, totally there with you, my friend.
But we will see, maybe even higher, and more fans will come in the soon for the video game music, because in the past times, in maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago, the focus is not so much high than nowadays for the video music soundtracks. Not so many developers and publishers made the decision that more budget means, of course, better music, also better instruments, better organization, better composing, and better methods. And nowadays, more and more developers choose that way. It's really great because, of course, there are far more better in unique and also in many ways. It's really great.
Agree with you. Yes, absolutely agree with you. And this is one of the things that makes me very happy, is that music is already an art on its own right. As you can see, even the prestigious award ceremonies like British Academy Awards, like Grammy, like Game Awards, music is something that is equally celebrated.
Yes. There are more and more awards.
Like visuals, like the narrative design.
Yes.
So yeah, totally there with you.
Sometimes music can play together, with in movies and TV series with the cinematography. Also sometimes with the game, if the game is more movie-like, and also with the characters. Also because in the games and in the words of many kind of games, you have many main characters, many protagonists, many enemies, many type of factions, etc. And you can make a new layer of these characters and also these factions with the music. You can may know each other, the characters or the cultures or the factions from the music itself. So it's really great.
Exactly. Especially if you would like to build a multi-layered character.
Oh yeah.
Not just a stereotypical one, but a really multi-layered and multicolored.
Oh yeah, and sometimes you know something about their past, the characters or the factions' past.
Precisely, if you'd like to build their background, to put the emotion on the next level in a specific cutscene, nothing helps the way music does. And as you said, more and more game developers realize this and use it to a full extent and invest time, effort, energy, and budget to enhance their game experience with high quality music.
Yeah, and that's really great to hear.
Which can only make me happy, because more and more talented people, my fellow colleague composers, receive the chance to express themselves and to contribute and to compose and to produce beautiful music.
And they and you have much more possibilities, because of the bigger budget also, Sometimes you can do new things or new methods or something like that.
Of course.
Great.
Of course. Budget is one side, and the other side is the freedom. So.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Whenever
it's the other pillar, yeah.
Exactly. Budget is really important, but it's not. It's needed. But it's not enough. What really can make you. Can give you all the tools to express yourself and to come with your
and also the freedom. They don't tell you what you do or something like that. So
that was one of the things that I don't know if you attended the discussion panel with Austin Wintory and but we were talking about situations when some of the developers prefer to give you 10 track which you are supposed to follow. And we were discussing that this is not a good thing, and because this cripples really badly the creativity, and we all believed in the same way, that even if you go the safe way and use 10 tracks, which will definitely work, it would be way better if you go brave and you give the freedom to your composer to be inspired and driven by your narrative design, by your game player, gameplay, and at the end of the day come up with something unique, something that was truly inspired and representative of your game, and has a unique touch, feel, and look and identity. So I'm telling all this just to tell you why I do believe so much that not only budget but also the creative freedom is very.
Of course, it's maybe much more. Yeah.
Maybe much more, because sometimes even you can achieve within a small budget way more interesting and innovative and beautiful things if you have the creative freedom rather than a lot of money, but at the end of the day obliged to do something specific and to follow only one.
Yes, sometimes indie developers made that way, that they haven't got the biggest budget of all time, but they can do really unique, great teams.
Exactly. And this is one of the main reasons in the recent years the indie developers keep surprising the big scene with beautiful music, because they are not restrained or they are not limited by budget and creative freedom, and they can go wild and put something completely new, fresh, and interesting on the table.
Yes. So, because we talk about exact games now, can we start to talk about your works in a retrospective way?
What do you want me to tell you?
Firstly, I saw on IMDb that I didn't know about that, but that you have worked as a musician on Gothic 3. Gothic 3 has a really wonderful soundtrack, I think. And you maybe composed something about also, or you just worked as a musician, and if you worked as a musician, what was the instrument you used?
Well, happy times, good old times. First of all,
15 years ago, almost.
Yeah, many years ago. So I was invited by my long-term friend Kai Rosenkrantz. This is an amazing composer and a dear friend of mine.
They made Matrix, if I heard right, yeah? The music, soundtrack of Matrix. Matrix, sorry.
I'm not sure about it.
But I'm too, but I just heard about that.
Could be. I might be wrong there, but back then, at the time, Kai Rosenkrantz was the music composer and audio director of the Gothic series.
Yes.
And as I said, we're long-term friends with my dear Kai, and 2006, if I'm not mistaken, he invited me because he knew at the time that I was very keen on collecting and playing ethnic stringed instruments. He was very much aware and knew how keen, how passionate I was back then collecting.
I like maybe the most in the Gothic soundtrack that the ethnic parts for the different territories and factions of the world was there in the music also, and it was lovely, lively, if I can say so. It felt really as I also almost as I heard in a concert also. It was really interesting and great.
Very happy. So one beautiful morning, he called me and he said, I would love if you would like to join me here in Germany for a few recording sessions. So
you made it in Germany.
Yeah. So what I did, but of course the Gothic series is top 5.
Yes, maybe one of the best known series on RPGs.
My favorite games are Divinity, Gothic, and Elder Scrolls. So if I'm to name 3 fantasy games that I love the most, it would be Divinity series, Gothic, and Elder Scrolls. These are my most favorite.
And maybe now more Baldur's Gate.
And now Baldur's Gate. Yeah. And what I did, I just took the plane. I took a couple of my instruments, I remember. So 2 or 3, I believe 2 instruments. Mm-hmm. So I took the plane. I went in Germany. In Düsseldorf, we recorded in a very beautiful studio, which was designed, if I'm not mistaken, by the architect, the same architect who designed Abbey Road. But I might be wrong. So, nevertheless, it was state of the art with latest equipment and a beautiful place with beautiful people. We spent, I think, less than a week there. So Kai was presenting me the orchestral soundtrack that he had already recorded at that time, and I was supposed to record ethnic music for one of the parts, because, as you know, Gothic 3 was divided in different areas, and one of those areas called Varant specifically
Yes.
was supposed to be heavy influenced by the ethnic stringed music from all over the world, with a focus on the Arabic
Yes, it's I keep thinking
region.
Arabic, yeah, something like that. It was quite good, and also the place with the music was really fit well. You know, I played through the game, and it was really
Yeah.
great.
So my main focus, to give a hand to Kai, was this specific area. Even though I performed and did a couple of few pieces for the old Mirtana as well.
Oh yeah.
There was a couple of pieces with guitar that I recorded as well.
Oh, I love the guitar also. Yeah.
Even though I didn't record the most beautiful piece, I must give the a credit when it's due. There was another guy, a very talented guitar player, who.
But it was an international team, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Kai is.
And it was good for the game
amazing.
because
It was.
there are many territories there, so.
Well, Kai is not only an amazing composer, very beautiful person, but he was a brilliant and genius producer
Oh, I see.
who has, an ear and a good ear, and he's a brilliant organizer when it comes to producing big and colorful soundtrack productions.
Oh, that's really good.
So I remember that back then, and he did a really good and thorough research, and I wasn't the only musician that was invited on the recording session. There were a couple more musicians, guitar players, woodwind players, and I was basically responsible mainly for the stringed instrument recordings. Amazing times, happy times. If I'm not mistaken, there is even a very nice and happy documentary which was shot during the recording session. If you want, I can look into my archive and I can send you the movie. I was very young back then. It was 15 years ago. Oh God!
Almost.
But
Time passed by.
like it was yesterday. Yeah. So yeah, going back to your question, this is one of my most beautiful memories, and especially having in mind that composing and producing fantasy soundtrack music is my forte and one of my most beloved styles.
You like fantasy and RPGs in general, so
yeah. In general, well, fantasy RPGs, this is where I feel at home.
Of course.
So yeah, lovely time, happy times. Gothic series, one of my favorite series, and I truly hope that this series.
I hope it will continue later.
Yeah, truly hope so. That the new, owner of the IP, THQ Nordic, sooner or later is going to.
Yeah, and there will be a remake. I played with the demo.
Yeah. Hopefully, this remake is going to.
Published.
To revive the franchise is what I want to say. I truly hope so, because it's so much on my heart, and there are millions of players, I would say, out there who love the franchise, and if the guys manage to revive the franchise with this remake,
so I hope
it's gonna be a new era for the franchise, and
maybe later you will be the composer. I hope.
I hope so. I truly hope so.
You
I keep
want to join?
Yeah. And nothing would make me happier than to hear.
Or Elder Scrolls 6, because there is no official, official composer. Now they don't know that Jeremy Soule will be there or not. And maybe he will do
I don't think that Jeremy Soule. I love the music of Jeremy, but I don't think that anyone can replay Kairos.
I think also.
And when I say anyone, I believe it. Personally, I can tell you that I wouldn't be worthy and I wouldn't be able to replace Kai Rosencrantz with Gothic, even if I want to. I mean, Kai.
Because he was the original, maybe, yeah. Because the unique.
Kai created an absolutely unique music style, music direction, and music identity of the Gothic universe.
Yes. The feel, you can say so.
The feel, the atmosphere. I mean, nothing compares. I don't want to sound, unrealistic, but personally for me, I don't want to say that anyone else should share my opinion, but personally for me, Gothic series, I mean 1, 2, and 3, without the music of Kai Rosenkrantz would not be the same.
Of course.
Would absolutely not be the same. That's why I really hope, and I keep my fingers crossed, that THQ Nordic decided to get Kai Rosenkrantz once
back.
again.
Yeah, I hope.
I think it's gonna be like 50% of the game already winning.
yes.
The hearts of the gamers.
They do this remake, or it's another studio or something like that, or?
I think so. It's not the original developer. It's not. But yeah, I was happy. Going back again to the topic, I was truly happy that and honored to be invited by
I think so. And after that, I saw that you worked on Ryzen, the spiritual successor of the game, and also Kai worked there also again, yeah?
Yeah, Kai worked there. I didn't work. I had a really small, tiny contribution, but it was really insignificant. It was something very small.
Oh, I see. It's a
Kai
more or less
overall on his own. As far as I remember, and the score was way more reminiscent and similar to the first Gothic, which was the right way to go because it gave a similar vibe and direction and atmosphere.
Now I'll play with 3, but 2 and 3 is not as good, I think, as the first part, but yeah, for reason. But yeah.
Are you talking about Reason?
Reason now.
They are different. They were different.
Yeah, different.
Reason 1 was my favorite one.
Me too.
Yeah, I loved it because it was truly faithful to the roots of Piranha Bytes. It was very Gothic-like. It was soaked with the atmosphere, the gameplay, and the vibes, which are typical for the team of Piranha Bytes.
More fantastical, but because Reason 2 and 3, it seems more piratical, if I can say so.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's more general-like.
Yeah, totally there with you. So
yeah, but not say that it's a worst game or a bad game, but Reason 1 was the best from the 3.
Yeah.
But maybe now that there is Alex or something like that, new game with them. I don't know who is the composer. I didn't play it yet, but we will see.
Alex is a very nice game. I love it as a matter of fact.
Okay. Maybe I will try.
I really recommend it. And as far as I remember, the music was composed by the game designer himself.
Oh. It's not general, yeah? That game designer can compose also.
No, it's not. But it was it was fitting quite well.
Maybe because of that, yeah.
Yeah, because Bjorn Pankratz, I believe, did the music, who is also the game director of the game, and I love the game. He
knew what he wanted, and they fit the music for that.
Yeah, it was very, very close to the atmosphere of the original Gothic.
Oh, that's great.
And when it comes to the music, what I remember was, I can't remember a specific tune, but I do remember that it was very fitting and it was serving the game well.
I heard that there will be maybe a second part.
Oh, definitely. There will be another one. It would be a shame if they drop the franchise, especially now when they managed to build a good community behind it.
And I tell you, it's not as buggy as the games previously.
Yeah,
But of course, the bigger the world, or it's an open world game, the bigger the possibility for bugs. I think so. So it's impossible to.
When we're talking about open game role-playing games.
And
the more open a game is, the more technical issues.
Oh yes, can happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
The law of more, something like that.
Right.
Yeah. And after that is almost at the same time period. You made Echelon Book 1, and after the Echelon Book 2, I really love the game atmosphere, the uniqueness of this RPG, and also the way they showed us, from the view part of the game. And also I like the interface, etc. And also, of course, the characters and the story types. And but I first heard about the game and also the teams, the main team. It was I really loved, and also one of my YouTuber friends played through the game. And how did you do the composing? What was the main keys? Do you choose the different type of instruments there?
First of all, I'm pleasantly surprised that you remember this game and you're asking me about the music of this game, because I have a very, very fond memories of this one.
Mhm.
It's a smaller
Smaller budget.
deep, but very deep and very nice role-playing game by the studio called Basilisk Games.
Yes.
I don't know how to pronounce it the
Basilisk,
proper way.
a fantasy creature.
Yes. And one of the things that I loved so much about the game was that the developers were truly in love with what they were doing.
It seemed,
And it shows. This is one of those cases when you might not have a big budget, but you have a big heart. And at the end of the day, you develop something which is sold with passion and with emotion. And when you enjoy the process of creation, at the end of the day, the people see it, feel it, and enjoy it. And it was the same for me when I was, especially when I was. Composing the main theme for the second part.
it
was
was
one
evolved,
of
yeah.
the-
Something evolved from the main game, from the first part.
Yes. I was very, very inspired by the very first part.
Mm-hmm.
The truth be told, I rarely play the games which I compose music for. Not because I don't want or I don't like the games, but I tried and I played the games so many times during the production process that at the end of the day, I know every single detail about the games.
Well, I see. Mm-hmm.
And when you know a game by heart, simply because you're an integral part of the game development process, and when you've played every single moment hundreds of times, it's very hard for me to go back and to enjoy fluently the game
The same way,
from the beginning to the start the same way. But especially in the case of the Escalon, it was completely different. It felt like a completely new and different, a fresh new experience. Even though I was familiar with what was going in the story and different parts, and I was more or less familiar with the different areas in the game because I was supposed to compose the music for those areas. I played the game with pleasure, and it's still one of my favorite role-playing games.
Yes,
Even
and
now,
it was a really
20 years
unique role-playing games. You can do things that many other type of games you can't. So it was really great. In general, in game mechanics also, and also with the music, it was.
I hope that the Basilisk games are going to pleasantly surprise us in the near future.
Oh.
I don't really know what exactly
I
they are
hope.
doing. But the last time I spoke with the game director Thomas, very, very nice, kind, and beautiful person. He told me that they were having something in their mind about the next role-playing game,
Yeah, that's great.
but they were going through a transition period. They were reorganizing and restructuring the company at that time, and I hope that they managed to achieve this.
So something cooking there.
And something cool, new,
Uh-huh.
is being cooked, and we are going to see on the horizon soon.
That's great. They are a German developer team or something.
They're American.
They're American.
Yeah, yeah.
You know that.
I might be wrong, but I think.
Yeah, but yes. If I see now
No, Thomas,
on Wikipedia.
Brazilian game is definitely located in the United States. I just don't know which state it was. Was it Texas?
Indianapolis.
Indiana.
Yeah, I now found it.
Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was book 3. Why you didn't return? Because maybe some project interfered, something like that.
Yeah, I remember that during the book 3, I composed only the main theme with my fellow composer Victor Stoyanov,
I see.
and I couldn't compose the entire soundtrack, but I produced it. I was a music director and producer. So what I did for book 3, as far as I could, I composed the main theme and then produced the rest of the soundtrack because I was heavily focused and my energy, my main focus was needed elsewhere, as far as I remember. Was it Two Worlds 2 or Crisis? I don't really remember because it was quite some time ago, but I do remember that I
those were the busy times. I saw on IMDb.
And I remember that I couldn't do anything but just the main theme, and this is what I told Tom at that time. Tom, sadly I can't do the entire score, but I promise you that I can give you a beautiful main theme, and I will do my best to produce and to direct the rest of the score.
It's strange that your name is not on the credit, because for the main theme it must be there, I think, but who knows? Because there is the Crown series, and Hans Zimmer only made the main theme, the intro theme, but his name is there, so no. Oh, about Hans Zimmer, I saw some pictures. You met him. So, how did you and you know each other or something like that?
Yeah, that was an epic and truly historic moment in my career. It was during the development of Crisis 2.
Oh yeah, because he was a musical producer or something like that, yeah.
No.
Or main theme or something like that.
Yes. He composed and produced the main themes. So basically, it was a epic moment. I remember that one day my boss, the audio director of Crisis 2, phoned me and said, "Bobby, I have really good news for you. You're gonna love it. I got the budget and I got the green light to work with Hans Zimmer to produce the main title of the game. So prepare yourself, grab your package with some clothes and your toothbrush, and let's get the plane to Los Angeles because we have a meeting with Hans Zimmer himself." And I was, as you can imagine, that was a shocking surprise. I was like, wow, is it really happening? Hans Zimmer, as you can imagine, is one of my favorite composers and one of those guys who heavily influenced my development and my career as a composer and music director.
And sometimes he developing new styles, new instruments in a really clever and unique way, in a modern way with the old ways. So it's a mixing. It's really great.
Yeah. So basically, what we did, we went to LA. We spent a week with Hans. We talked about the game. I presented to him the soundtrack. At that time, the main body of the soundtrack was already composed, and I was preparing the soundtrack for live orchestra recordings. And I remember sitting together with the legendary Hans Zimmer, drinking beer, talking about music and playing my music. So it couldn't get any more epic.
Yes, and so it seems, if I heard many times that, so Mr. Hans Zimmer likes beer, yeah, as an original German.
Right.
I heard, yeah.
Right. So we spent a week there. We worked. We clarified what was the direction we wanted to go for. And then he composed and produced those beautiful and legendary main themes of Crisis 2.
Which was really super. I played that game also. It also hear the themes nowadays too. So it was a collaboration, for example, yeah?
It was an amazing collaboration with him, yes.
It's really great to hear. I only talk on Facebook with Tina Guo, the main celloist.
Cello player. She's an amazing player.
We talk about an interview, but somehow it's missing. But I hope we can do it with her also. We will see. They played in a big Hans Zimmer concert at Budapest in 2016 at one of the big concert arena, and I was there, and one of my best event like that. And also Hans was there, so it was really great. Sadly, I couldn't met him, but maybe later. Who knows? But he's really nice and really a clever guy. Sometimes, you know, nowadays the young musicians say about him that he's now the new Beethoven or Mozart for the movies and the TV series. That's really great. And about Two Birds too, you made it in 2010, yeah?
Right.
It is almost a similar, almost as a game. I played it through all the way, and also its expansion, the piratical expansion. It's almost looked like a game, looked like a game as a child of Gothic and Elder Scrolls or something like that. Of course, with some unique things.
Yeah. It was beautiful game, and another chance for me to jump into my favorite style and to score an epic fantasy role-playing game. And one of those moments when I was able to use my ethnic stringed instruments, which I mentioned earlier. I love collecting ethnic string instruments from all over the world, and I remember that at that time when I was starting to compose the music for 202, I decided to travel to different places in Europe and to buy brand new ethnic string instruments, which I was really eager to use in the score back then.
If I remember, there were some Far Eastern type of places.
Yeah, there are a lot of different types. There are Far Eastern, yes. There are just Eastern, there are Balkan instruments. I used quite a lot of different instruments and musicians back then.
And it's hard to get together, these type of instruments and musicians from around the world, or not so hard to get them to one place.
As a matter of fact, all the musicians were from the town that I live, and they are my long-term collaborators. So basically, I have a band I'm working with, which I assembled
in Sofia.
In Sofia, yeah. I have a lot of beautiful people I worked with, and we are working together for the past 15 years, and they are playing on quite a wide range of different ethnic instruments. And what we do, we even share any new instruments that we collect. It's a brotherhood of music and ethnic instrument collection. And every time any of us acquires a brand new instrument, it's a celebration. We come together, we play, we laugh, we record, we come up with new ideas. It's really interesting. And even now, 15 years later, not 15, but 15 years from the very first time I assembled those group of beautiful people. We still keep work together. In Baldur's Gate 3, I'm still working with my main guitar and string instruments player along.
So there are key musicians who played in many games and works.
Yeah.
That's really great.
And I can give you a secret. It's not going to be a secret anymore the moment I share it with you, but it's so beautiful and so exciting that I will take the chance to share it with you exclusively for the very first time. At the moment, I'm assembling a band which is going to perform the music for Baldur's Gate 3 live.
Wow.
So basically, when a game is released, I will be able to go
online or something.
Online, on live.
Oh, that's good because everyone can hear it.
Yeah. So basically, what we would like to achieve is to be able to perform a big range of the music from Baldur's Gate 3 with the band that we are assembling right now.
Now just assembling or parting it. That's really good to hear. I will be behind this first. For this idea. And after that, I saw that you made Crysis 3 too. Also, I heard the main team put it in maybe 1 week ago or some day ago, yeah.
Yes.
Sadly,
yes,
I
yes.
couldn't play so much with this game, but maybe I will start again.
Well, it wasn't on Steam, by the way.
No?
It was recently published on Steam. Initially, it was published only on Origin, the platform of Electronic
maybe
Arts.
because of that.
Yeah, it was not published everywhere.
I love
and
Steam and
a lot of my
Go
friends,
more.
and that was the reason why a lot of my friends couldn't play it, because not everyone was playing and using Origin.
Yeah, me too,
platform.
sadly.
Exactly, but
Maybe
now
just Dragon Age. Maybe I like that music too also.
exactly.
Yeah,
But now when all these games are available on Steam as well, you can go back and grab it for just few bucks. It's
that's
5
great.
to 10 euros, and it's a pretty good game. I strongly recommend it. It's a
Yes,
really
it
good
seems the mixture of 1 and 2, something
exactly,
like that.
exactly. It's a really nice mixture of those cinematic and high quality feeling of Crysis 2 combined with the freedom and the open world possibilities to a certain degree provided and presented in Crysis 1.
And really like the way that it's a first-person shooter, an action game, but also it's sometimes a tactical, logical game. So it was quite great.
Yeah.
And also the music fit well because sometimes it's harder and louder and fit more actioner, but sometimes it can be calm and more peaceful emotion with the main characters. So it was.
Yeah, I published the main theme a few days ago because people kept asking me in the last few weeks about Spotify compilation of the music from Crysis 3, and it wasn't released back then in time, sadly. I don't know what exactly happened, but
maybe some technical issues or low issues or something like that. Yeah.
And when I received a couple of requests and questions about whether the music will be available one beautiful day on Spotify, I felt emotional and decided to post the main theme on my Facebook account. That was the moment you saw it and listened to the piece.
And maybe anniversary were there or something like that, no? 7th year or something.
Sorry?
There was an anniversary date maybe also. It may be released at autumn, yeah? Or something like that.
Yeah.
So almost looks like. Yeah. And after that you made Rise of Son of Rome. I played that game too.
It's real nice.
What was a wonderful game. I think it was made by the same engine, the Crytek engine.
Yes.
It was a sample for the graphical technicians or something like that. It was quite beautiful.
Absolutely stunning and beautiful. I remember that when we combined all the cutscenes in the game, the result was 1 hour and a half feature film.
And it was a surprise for me. I didn't know that you worked on it. Because it's more of a Rome style word and music, but you did a really great soundtrack, so it was really great.
I'm happy. Yeah, that was the moment I got another chance that was very important for me. One of my most favorite movies, Gladiator.
Oh, I love it also.
As you can imagine, and I was heavily inspired by this movie and a few more movies. So the moment I was on board to score the game, that was a perfect chance for me to relive and to go back and to immerse and to inspire myself once again rewatching and revisiting my favorite movies from the Roman era, and as a result, you can hear the soundtrack of Rise.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think if I remember well, because I played the game maybe 5 years ago, so not remembering everything, but I quite liked it, and it was have a really great pace also, I can say so. And it was, but strangely, if I remember well, it felt sometimes little more lesser or little game than than Crisis, but you can't see it because the graphics, the music was quite an epic one. That I felt that it was made by a lesser numbered team. I don't know, but
yeah, because especially in the recent years, what I think that we are witnessing a very interesting tendency to see small development teams develop beautiful and very nice games. So I think that the people are fed up with only with soulless high production values.
Oh yes.
No matter how many and how high the production values are in a game, if the game is not fun, if the game does not have a soul, if it was not developed with passion and with a pleasure,
and with love,
at the end of the day, with love, thank you, that was the word I was looking for. You can never enjoy it, no matter how money and how big the budget was and how beautiful the visuals are. And that's why in the recent years we are witnessing more and more small independent game developer studios which develop not so visually stunning games, but fun.
Yeah, maybe much more fun. Yeah,
much more fun.
Yes.
And much more entertaining than the big guys.
Sometimes much more through the video gamers into the game than this sometimes soulless type of merchandisers or something.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I'm very happy to say that this is something that gives a chance, especially nowadays, to a lot of small independent studios to shine with the current technologies, with the current engines, the current development tools. Basically, only their imagination is the limit. If you have a beautiful idea, if you have a passion and a love,
and the freedom, of course,
and the freedom, and if you would like to make something, you can do it. It's a whole different story.
Yes.
10 years ago, it was different and way harder than now.
You couldn't dream about it in 10 years ago or something like that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's good to hear. So the evolving of the soundtrack is way much felt nowadays than 10 years ago. It seems that it's much more focused and much more important than in the past. It is good to hear, because in the past sometimes I felt that some of the developers and the publishers felt that soundtrack, much more work on soundtracks can drag the release or something like that, and there will be enough budget for less and enough time for it when we do it just in 1 month and not for half of a year. So, but nowadays it's one of the key elements, so it is really great.
Precisely.
And Divinity was, I think, when it first came as a video game in Divine Divinity, in 2002, it was just a little game, if I can say so, but it was a really good game. And it managed to do a Diablo-like game with many new, unique ways. And I really like Larian Studios from that day. And we played, the prequel of it, Divinity Orig 1 with my friend. It was in cooperative mode or way. It was really a great thing. Sadly, I heard that after the game release, the composer died.
Well, sadly, the legendary composer Kirill passed away.
You know him or knew him?
No, well, I knew him, but not personally.
I see.
And I loved Kirill and his music so much, and I never applied for a job to Larian simply because I loved Kirill's music so much. And Divine Divinity is one of my top 5 games, top 5 favorite games of all time. I know this game by heart, and I played Divine Divinity maybe 4 or 5 times. And one of the things I truly loved and made me come back to this game was exactly the music. It was completely different in comparison to anything else out there. It was absolutely unique. And
felt the passion behind it.
Yes. And it was absolutely unique and full of passion because Kirill Pokrovsky had all the freedom in the world, fully supported by Larian to compose and produce music with all his heart, not constrained or not limited to any temp tracks, direction, limitations, anything. He was just given the freedom and the chance to be inspired by the Divinity universe and to come back with a beautiful music, which was absolutely unique because Kirill was composing music in an absolutely unique way.
Yes.
Honestly, even now, if I have to compare his music, there is nothing even that comes even closer.
Yes,
to
I think about that way that if I try to think about it, maybe no one I can find. I think it's almost look like as David Lynch, the famous director in movies. So it's
totally.
Such a unique way that exactly if you see a picture or just a scene or heard a theme from his works, the creator. So it's
exactly. And this is why it was so challenging for me because when I took the beta and when I had to continue his
the sequel,
mission, and his mission to keep the music universe that he created in the Larian Studios games, it was very challenging for me because I had to first take a very difficult decision.
He started to work or no, not working on the sequel.
No, he passed before the game development on the second one was started.
Or announced.
Passed away, I think, 6 months earlier, before the development started. But I had to take a very difficult decision because I loved Kirill's music and I was very tempted to follow his steps in the same direction and to try to continue the style, so to say. But on the other side, I realized that it would be very difficult and it would be mimicking. I couldn't do it. I couldn't mimic Kirill because Kirill was so unique that even if I do a very good imitation, it would still be an imitation, not the real thing. And that was the moment I said that I would rather let the music of Kirill inspire me and come up with something new, something that goes directly from my heart, rather than mimic his music and at the end of the day give the people something that was lesser experience of the old style, mimicking the old style. And I'm happy that I realized this early, and
maybe comparing to him, it's a more classical, more bigger orchestral way, yeah? So maybe we can say so, maybe.
I think that using the orchestra was following was a logical continuation, a logical next step of my decision to be inspired by the previous soundtracks in the series rather than trying to mimic those. And as a logical step, as a natural next
maybe sometimes a little bit we can hear the song, from the first part. Sometimes you build up on it.
I'm very happy that you're saying this because of what I was doing during the development process of Divinity Original Sin 2. Once in a while, when I needed an inspiration, when I needed to move myself, what I was doing, I was playing the music of Kirill. And it was so touching, it was so moving, it was so full of emotion, and it was so unique and brilliant that it didn't fail me anytime.
And give more strength.
Every time I was playing and listening to his music, I felt inspired, and I was ready to come up with a brand new piece of music for the new installment in the series.
So it was really an inspiring one, that's for sure.
It was, and that's why you're feeling these resembles, and you are feeling these reflections coming from the previous installment in the series, because I allowed myself to get inspired by the music of Kirill.
And what was it like to hear it in live? It was such, it almost, when we heard live on this great concert one month ago or something like that, 2 months, one month.
It was amazing, it was truly amazing.
And it was almost better than in the game. many fans wrote that.
Well, live music, nothing compares to live music, is what I'm used to saying, simply because nothing compares to the passion added by the live musicians themselves.
And also,
no matter how good and well produced is the music, when you are directing an orchestra, it's a living organism. It lives and breathes in real time.
The most organic, most natural, most authentic.
Exactly. And that's why you cannot compare it. And even if it's not flawless, even though there are some small imperfections, at the end of the day, the experience is so soaked with the pure and real emotions coming directly from the musicians that you say, wow, this is really, really good.
And I saw on their, when I watched the video, I saw on their faces that they really loved and has a really great fun and joy. Sometimes I saw that they are laughing or just smiling when they were playing. So it was throughout, the different type of musicians. It's quite great to see. So they loved also, of course.
If the musician enjoy the music they're performing, the music goes on a whole different level. And it's one of the biggest actually rewards a composer can get. See a smile on the face of the composer who is performing the music. So I'm totally there with you, and this was one of the things that makes me so very happy to see those beautiful smiling faces performing the music.
Sometimes, because the camera work was really great as well, also really with a big quality of the picture, so we can see any resemblance on the faces also, etc. So it was really great to see that they are really liked and loved, and not just another work. It was a true passion work there, so it was I love to see that. And it was the first live orchestra play of the original sin soundtrack or something like that?
No, it wasn't for the first time. The first time the music for Divinity Original Sin 2 was performed was 2 years ago.
Where? Maybe I didn't see that.
No, it was in my home city, Sofia.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it was 2 years ago, and hopefully one of these COVID madness is over, we will be able to make another one, because as I mentioned earlier, the entire soundtrack of Divinity Original Sin 2 was the orchestral soundtrack.
There in Sofia, and we can see that. That's really great. We will see.
No, I was saying that the soundtrack was recorded in Budapest.
Oh, I heard about it. That's really great. But that if there will be a concert soon, we can see it online again in Sofia, maybe, or something like that.
Hopefully. I really hope so.
That's great to hear. I really like that, the Slavic, maybe Bulgarian type of ethnic instruments are there. If I heard well, I really love that type of music. I also loved in Witcher 3 or the ethnic type of Slavic.
all type of instruments. Mainly from Europe, mainly from Europe, but they're all from the Balkans, all over Europe, I would say.
Maybe some Hungarian violin, violin is really famous.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I keep this really good idea in the back of my mind. And the last time I was recording with the Budapest, with the Budapest Symphonic Orchestra, I was having a lovely time in a beautiful traditional Hungarian restaurant, and there was live music performed by amazing Hungarian musicians. And that was the moment I said I really would like to use these musicians in one of my next
it's a good idea.
Yeah. So much passion, so much emotion, so much feelings provoking
Yes.
music.
They live with the music itself, so it was really.
Exactly.
It was at Budapest in a restaurant.
It was in Budapest, and it's definitely a place to come back. I know the restaurant, and the next time I go for the next recording sessions, I will definitely go to have a dinner there once again.
Oh, maybe I will go there.
Join me this time around.
My girlfriend lives there. I used to go to Budapest many times in this year too. Sadly, COVID now stopped it, but.
I will send you a message next time, and hopefully we will be able to enjoy.
Maybe.
There together.
We can
never know.
see later.
Yeah.
And talking about Budapest, so you were there many times or something. You know well about
I know
the city.
pretty well. I love the city. I love Hungary. I have a lot of friends there. My favorite sound recording musicians and engineers are in Budapest, and it's a place I always go back with heart full of love, and I feel at home, totally at home.
Oh, I see.
And Budapest in Hungary is the only place I record live orchestra.
There are many much more composers now and conductors now there in Budapest, and maybe nowadays we can almost say so that most of the video games soundtracks are recorded live there. So it's
rightfully so.
Quite a surprise for me, first time.
You shouldn't be surprised. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people, lovely musicians.
I really loved it. Just it was a surprise because in Hungary it's not marketing there. That our own country not talking about anything about it. So I think in general way. So it's quite a strange thing.
We are here talking about it. So
sometimes I just know about it from you or something else, and the whole government or something like that not marketing it. But it's needed to, I think, but it's sad thing. Sadly. And so the Budapest Art Orchestra is the conducting orchestra. Budapest Art Orchestra, something like that.
It's a Budapest studio orchestra, and I usually record with the Tom Tom Studio, which is based in Budapest.
Because there was an East Connection music recording company. There was a Budapest Art Orchestra. I know these two. Maybe this is the third one, or maybe evolved. I don't know, into each other. I don't know now, because there are many games with a music soundtrack recorded. So sometimes I didn't know which one, and it was quite a surprise, a really good surprise for me. And it was quite a great. And who conducted your game music?
His name is Peter Pecic, if I pronounce it well, but I might be that might not be the right way to pronounce the name, but it's Peter Pecic.
I think maybe he worked on this orchestra as well, but I really not quite remember well. But maybe I heard about it.
You're saying the name because maybe I'm not pronouncing the name the right way you would pronounce it in Hungarian.
Or maybe Peter Benchik. Yeah, maybe I think he is. If I see now.
I'll send you the name.
Yes.
You probably.
You know some Hungarian word also.
Sorry?
You learned some Hungarian word also.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, I'm trying, but the Hungarian language is giving me a hard time, even though I've been recording there for 10 years.
10 years now. It's one of the hardest language, I think, in the world. With maybe Chinese, Japanese as well. And also Polish is hard because I worked in Poland, in Krakow, and when I arrived they said this is the hardest Slavic language. So it was a bad surprise there. I thought it's easier than Russian or something like that, but they said it's harder. But of course I learned some phrases and sentences and words there, and they're really beautiful. Polish girls really like that. So sadly, no
Very
date
well.
happened there, but but after that, I knew my girlfriend, but she was Hungarian. But it was really a great working period in Krakow. Krakow also, and Wrocław is a really beautiful city. So, and I hope I will travel to Sofia as well, because I heard the great things
I'd be
there.
very happy to have you here, my friend. If you had a chance to visit me here, I promise to show you all the beautiful places and areas together. And of course, you're gonna be my guest of honor in
Oh,
my
really,
studio.
thank you. It's an honor for me too. That would be a really beautiful studio, and also a really interesting one. It will be a really great lifetime event for me, for sure. I think.
Yeah.
Are you there and own a couple of instruments there? You can sometimes
Oh yeah, my collection is here.
use
My
or something
collection of
like that.
instruments is here, and I also have an office in the headquarters of Larian Studios, which is Ghent, Belgium. So I travel all the time between Ghent and Sofia. But my main production studio is located here in Sofia, Bulgaria, where I am at the moment. And I'm under a lockdown, unfortunately, at the moment due to the COVID madness situation.
Mm-hmm.
But under normal circumstances, what I usually do, I travel between Ghent and Sofia all the time.
Mm-hmm. Ghent?
Ghent is
in Belgium or something like
yes, that's right. This is one of the most beautiful cities in Belgium.
Maybe I didn't heard about
Europe.
it, sadly.
Sorry?
Maybe I didn't heard about this city, sadly.
Oh, Ghent is a beautiful place. Definitely a place to visit. I strongly recommend to go.
It's near Brussels. Where is it? Or where is it?
Brussels is the capital, but Ghent.
I don't know.
But
Ghent
it's
near it or something, or farther or something like that.
Well, it's like an hour by car.
Mm-hmm.
It's not far away from
It's
Brussels.
not so far away.
45 minutes maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Something like this by car. From the airport to Ghent, from the airport in Brussels to Ghent, it's like 45 to 50 minutes by car.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the most beautiful and nice place in whole Europe. I've been in a lot of different cities in Europe, but Ghent is like nowhere else. I truly love this city. I truly
it's
love
good to hear.
it.
Maybe we'll travel there too. We like to travel, but sadly nowadays it's just a dream.
If you go to Belgium, you definitely need to visit. And if I'm in Ghent, you need to visit me there as well.
And you know the whole team of Larian Studios now, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
You know Sven also, the greatest, funniest man of the world.
Of course I know Sven. Sven is an amazing person. He is the most inspiring person I've ever met in my life. He's basically the reason, you know, of course the Divinity franchise was the initial reason I decided to apply and start working with Larian. But the reason I stayed with Larian is Sven. He is very noble, beautiful person and very, very inspiring.
It seems that deep heart. He and of course the whole team loves the project and also work well. Joy. He's maybe one of the best leader I think of in the whole world.
I believe so. I believe so. At least from my perspective, I've never worked with more inspiring leader in my whole career so far.
It seems from the video that they are full of joy with the development, not stressful. It's quite great to see.
We truly enjoy the process of creation, and this is the most important thing and one of the main core values of the company. And I believe one of the most important reasons why our games are being celebrated and enjoyed by so many people, because we do enjoy the process of creation.
Yes, some videos there are funny videos about the game. I really like that
this
too.
Is a trademark.
Some videos you are in it, yeah. You are in it. If I saw well.
Yeah. This is a trademark and an ID card of the company to make really entertaining, fun videos.
And also, you know, just a symbol, the intro, the logo, the Larian Studios is really funny. And
Absolutely.
these videos are made in sorry, what was the let's see, Ghent?
Well, some of them they're being produced different places,
Oh, I see.
but our video producer is located in Dublin, who
Mhm.
travels all the time,
Oof.
all over the world,
Uh-huh.
among the different studios of Larian Studios, because we have several different studios in
Oh,
Europe,
I see.
in
Uh-huh. I
Asia
didn't know that.
recently. We have one in Quebec City, in Canada, and depending on what needs to be covered, our video producer Declan travels
Uh-huh.
intensively all the time. So
The different departments of the game development.
different departments, so we can keep the tradition alive of producing and releasing those funny videos that everybody in our community is happy with.
Maybe there will be some live orchestral parts, about conducting and recording the music for the game. No, don't
Yeah,
you know
could be,
that?
could be, could
Because
be.
there was
Well,
for Pirates of Eternity also were made at Budapest, and it was really great. So good, really good to see. We will see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also some. I hope there will be some more funny videos, but of course there will.
There will definitely be more funny videos, I can promise you this.
So in this final way that we can talk about Baldur's Gate 3,
Yeah.
the freshest of the games, and it was what a truly announcement where it was announced. A game that many video game fans and of course the RPG, the role-playing gamers, may be waiting for 20 years to continue.
Yeah.
So
The wait is over, almost.
Almost, yeah.
over.
Or for some, a little bit started, yeah, for
Yeah.
the early
Yeah.
access. I just don't started it because I don't quite like the early accesses because these are betas and
Same with me, my friend. I prefer to be patiently
Yes,
waiting
yes,
to the
me too.
moment I can, immerse into the final product and to totally jump
yes.
and immerse myself fully. So
And because
yeah,
you
I
get
would
the
say,
full for the release, not so that's because of that.
if you don't feel like helping, providing feedback, or if you're not one of those people who are eager to take part into the development process and to help us understand the weak and the strong parts
Of course.
throughout the entire development process, I would strongly recommend to wait and to get the full package experience once it's released and once it hits 1.0.
Sometimes I do beta games, but in just a general way. So maybe some hints or.
I'm not a beta person myself.
But
I want to
not
say-
so many.
No, I'm not a beta person.
Me too. So
I always prefer to wait for the final product. As a matter of fact, I bought Mountain Blade, the new one, the Banner Lord.
the second.
I just bought it because I wanted to support the developers, but I never touched it. Almost a year now
Oh, I see.
since it was released. I have it in my library.
But
in
the
Steam,
full,
but I
it's a full
never
game,
bothered to
or
play it because
just a
it's a
bit.
beautiful game, and I'm patiently waiting for the final release, and then
Oh, I
I'm gonna
see.
jump and immerse myself into the gameplay.
Maybe I will try too. I just tried a demo, Centigrade for the first part, but they say the second part is such a more evolved one, so I think I will try it because I love the era of the Middle Age. So
Yeah.
and of course this is a simulation sometimes, yeah. So
Yes.
and also an RPG because you play a character, so it's a good mix of both.
Right.
Yeah. So about Baldur's Gate 3, how did you started it, or how you joined to the team? You wanted it for the first time, or they just said, "Hey, do you want to do another job in the studio?" or something like that.
Well, being part of the Larian Studio since 2016, I'm part of all the games which are being developed by Larian Studios, and it was a natural continuation.
Mm-hmm.
And
You really enjoy the work on the original Sin 2, yeah?
oh yes, this was
The
truly a highlight,
experiences was
not
great.
only in my career but also in my life. I spent a lot of time there, more than a year, in the beautiful city of Ghent with my beautiful colleagues. So it was a natural continuation of
So
our
it
collaboration.
It was not a
my
hard
role there.
decision.
No, not at all. Quite on the contrary, I was eager to jump into the next adventure with my fellow colleagues and friends at Larian Studios. especially having in my mind that I was a big fan of Baldur's Gate series myself, and
Maybe you know the
moment I
composers
realized-
also. No? Did you know the
Sorry?
composer? Did you know the previous composers or no? Einon Zur and who was the second? I didn't remember
Personally,
now.
I had a chance to meet once Inon. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. It was on a game music festival in Germany, but
Yes.
I never had a chance to speak or to meet the very first composer, Michael. Was
Yeah,
his
Michael.
name.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So I only know, and I only had a chance to meet Inon previously.
Inon made the Throne of Baldur, if I remember sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
believe that
expansion.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
I liked
He
his works too, because
Inon is a real veteran.
yes.
The latest game I enjoyed, his scored was Fallout 4, which I truly enjoyed, not only
I
from
didn't know that,
visual
yeah.
and narrative points of view, but also from musical point of view. It was quite a good experience.
I will play with that game too. I wanted just not enough time for it.
Yeah, so many good games and so less time.
Yes. And
So, yeah,
I felt that you build upon for Michael first Baldur's Gate main team, yeah, for the main team of Baldur's Gate 3, it's built upon to the main game of PG1, yeah, a little bit.
Sorry, I didn't get
A little bit build upon the first Baldur's Gate main game, yeah, for the Baldur's Gate 3 main team is a little bit. I felt that it's building up on it and building some new level on it, if I can say
So
so.
when I started to compose the main theme for the Baldur's Gate 3, I again I had to face a really difficult and challenging
Of course.
course of action, and I had to take a difficult decision. So again, I had to decide how to approach. And again, I realized that the best way, first, I thought to myself that when you play a game, when you enjoy a music in a game that you truly love, when the game is over, listening to the very same soundtrack makes you relive and to remember the characters, the stories, and the setting. And that was the moment I realized that I should not try to strictly follow the previous installment in the series, because they were meant to reflect the saga of Baal Spawn. So there was specific saga, there were specific characters, and you cannot simply go with the same tunes, with the same approach, because they were connected. And whenever I hear those pieces, whenever I hear this style, the very first thing that comes to my mind and the very emotions that are being provoked are precisely about those characters and those events.
And the backstory, yeah.
Exactly. And that was the moment I realized that I should rather be inspired and driven by the new narrative design of the new installment in the series. Because there is a new chapter with new story, which is, I cannot give you any hints how it...
Of course. I heard that there are some connections.
With the previous installment in the series. But the truth is that I realized that it is really important to let the music be driven and inspired by the new chapter in the series. And this is what I did on one side. On the other side, I realized that I would really need to make a connection somehow with the previous installments in the series, music-wise. And since I decided not to use to mimic the style or to go the same direction when it comes to themes composing, I had to take something in order to make the bridge with the previous installments in the series of music. And I decided to use some basic, some main instrumentation, some main instruments from the previous. Heavy on the brass, very beautiful harp passages.
Oh, I really like the harp. Oh, the most
Exactly. So I decided I'm gonna borrow those instrumentation key elements from the previous themes and build a brand new soundtrack inspired and driven by the new chapter in the
brand
series.
new branches from 3.
Exactly. And that's why you maybe notice that even the main theme it's different theme, it's different composition. The style is different, but some of the key instruments there are the same, like,
and with some news also.
like the choir, like the brass, like harp. These are three pillars in the music instruments which I decided to use in the new installment in the series.
I really like the choir also. Oh, that's wonderful.
Very happy to hear that. Very happy to hear that. Of course, I gave it a different different read, different approach, because I wanted to come up with something new, fresh, and unique for the new installment in the series. But at the same time, I believe that it would be a really good idea if I start with the choir and to use heavy brass and lyrical, beautiful harp.
The first choir, you know, the deep male voice, the main theme, it was quite a unique and really great, like a Bulgaric style, yeah, or something like that. For me, it's great.
I'm happy that you like it. It's
or not.
It's not a choir that exists in real life. It's something that I created specifically for the game. So what I did, I invited my friends, professional choir singers.
In Sofia, or it was Budapest?
In Sofia, yes. But I wanted to achieve a very unique and specific sound, which is not the typical Gregorian or classical sound. Something that
it's a quite unique one. At first, I really
I wanted to achieve this.
Didn't hear it like that before.
Exactly, I wanted this raw, deep, and unique quality. Something to be remembered. So the moment you hear it, it should be simple but very memorable and strong.
Yes.
That was my goal.
And that was the case. I can.
Very happy to hear that it was achieved.
I can prove it.
Thank you so much, my friend.
And the language was from the game, from the Faroe, some of the language of in Faroe or something like that, from the word.
It's an imaginary language which was invented specifically for the game again. So I wanted to come up with something that sounds ancient and that sounds very strong and deep and memorable and, of course, impactful. And then we sit down and invented this language, which then we used in the...
there is our language developer, creator, or something like that too. In the
this is the language for the music.
For music.
For the music, yeah. So we invented a specific language, specially for the music.
That's
so
really great.
It sounds good, strong, and raw for the music itself, within the context of the compositions themselves.
And when the choir or the female solos or choirs sang, that is the same. That was the same. Language?
Yes. These are all the same singers, right?
Maybe in the soundtrack we could hear the. I don't remember now who sang lively on the concert. The really nice and talented opera singer.
Very happy to hear it. How you pass your regards to her. Her name is Vesel Delcheva. He is the official singer of the Baldur's Gate 3 soundtrack.
Oh, I think so. Who sang there was on the soundtrack also. Oh, that's great.
Yes. The same person, the same amazing talent.
Really, really great, loud and wide and very deep voices can come out. Also, she sang the beautiful songs. For the, for the bard in the game.
Exactly. That's right. That's correct.
What a marvelous.
It's again her.
And that's really talented. I think she had a career. Now there will be a much more wider worldwide career. I think.
Hopefully so.
And you too, I think. After this and of course the previous games, because Baldur's Gate is a title that almost everyone knew from the past 20-30 years. So just because of that, the focus and the excitement is of course much higher, but if you do it really right, the success will be much higher also, I think.
Hopefully so. I truly hope so, man.
Yeah. And it seems that it will be a really great hit and a big hit. And of course now you are halfway away from finishing or something like that, huh?
Yeah. We recently released the first act and now we are very busy working on the next acts game, and the moment we're done, the game will be released.
Mm-hmm. There will be 3 or 4. I heard 3, 4, 5, 2. I don't know now. How many acts will be there?
Well, unfortunately,
or
I
it's
cannot tell you.
but
there will be a lot.
What we can know from that.
Coming on the horizon. It's going to be a huge game. This
Oh,
is all I
see.
can tell you.
Okay.
And there will be plenty of surprises.
But it seems the surprise will be not in the first act.
Yeah, the only thing that I can tell you that I'm halfway through the soundtrack. So basically, there will be a lot more music. Several more hours of music will be implemented.
So there will be much surprises from the music later, and also from the story. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And also from the characters, maybe. Yeah.
Lots of more music, lots of more content, characters, stories, surprises.
I heard that in the early access that the first act is really huge now. Also, it's just the first act that it must also seems that it's some other general games. Playtime is the same way that this first act only.
Yeah,
so.
That's why I told you it's gonna be a really, really huge game.
And also many territories that I heard. There is the the underworld and the. I really like the underworld type of music there. It's more canny and dark and gritty and something like that. So you have a really have a possibilities for this game that you can make really different type of feelings and music.
Precisely.
And music, so.
One of the things that makes me so very happy that I have the opportunity to go in a very and completely different direction.
Also, I heard 3 types or parts of the main game. There are several videos on YouTube. Maybe they put it from the early access. So I don't know now. It's a legal thing, but they put it on YouTube, and sometimes they signed it that the main theme, part 1, part 2, part 3. There is a part 3 too. Where we
that's correct. This is correct. There are 3.
When we can hear these, or it's separated, or not so, or
these were captured directly from the game, and the main theme consists of 3 parts. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. So that is correct, and that was captured from the main menu of the game. So there is nothing wrong. It's all. Legend,
I see. Mm-hmm.
And it comes directly from the game, and from which was basically released on early access, so always good.
And also heard different parts of the character creation. I really like that there are more games. The character creation screen are really important, and also there are new type of musics recorded for that. Exactly, so it was really great to hear. What's a lovely feel and mood for that. Oh, it's really strange because sometimes. You can, it's a more grittier, darker whole theme. Previously, comparing, Divinity Original Sin to brighter style of music, also style of, colors and graphical styles. Baldur's Gate 3 may be a much more darker, and you can feel it also in your soundtrack. But sometimes you can get some tidbits of a calmer and more peaceful.
Yeah, that's because you're going to different parts in the character creation, and the music is reflective of the different parts. Great. So the moment you start the game, you will realize what I'm talking about. So
I love to waiting for that.
yeah. You're gonna like it, or at least I truly hope so.
Of course.
But nevertheless, there will be a lot more music even in the menu, because
and soon you'll be recording some new.
There. And I will add at least a few more pieces to the character creation.
And you will be recording some new in Budapest soon, yeah?
Yes, next year, a lot of more recordings coming on the horizon.
Will you travel
in the beautiful city of Budapest.
You will travel there too, again? Or something?
I hope so. I'm eager to see the end of this lockdown and to be able to travel again to the beautiful city of
Maybe
Budapest.
we can meet once there, because
we will definitely do this, my friend.
I travel there, sometimes for my
I will
brother.
Drop you a message and I will be happy to meet you there.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I hope we can meet too and have a coffee or something like that in that restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe Sven travel there also sometimes to Budapest, or the team.
No. It's only music production wise. So basically, I'm traveling with my orchestra supervisor.
But Sven know about it. Of course, you you talk about it also
of
sometimes.
course,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, maybe one day he will join me. You never know.
Yeah, maybe teleported that way, something like
Yeah.
Fantastical, magical guy. So who knows?
Somebody is able to do so. That would be Sven.
I really liked, his plate. It's a famous plate now.
Yeah, everybody loves this.
It's his own or something like that, or borrowed somewhere, or
Honestly, I don't know, but does it really matter?
or it's from Faerun. Who knows? The word of Baldur's Gate. Yeah, it's quite a great thing. And sometimes you work with the sound designer, or you make the sound also.
I don't do sound design, but being the senior in the sound team, I work with the guys, and basically I created the audio team in Larian. That might be an interesting news for you. So the moment I joined, we had to restructure the entire audio team, and I hired the guys, and it was an adventure on its own right. But now I'm very happy to say that we are a bunch of band of brothers.
That's good.
Where
that's a good compression.
The harmony, the peace, and the passion are the main pillars, and we are cooking quite a lot of nice surprises for you. Sadly, I cannot give any more hints, but I promise you there are a lot of really cool and exciting.
So this early access is just a start.
This is just the start. You can say that this is just the start. Just a small showcase to give you a hint of what is going on, and a lot more is coming on the horizon, and very, very, very pleasant surprises as well.
What I love to hear and see that it's nowadays the video gamers say that this is the true highlight nowadays for role-playing games, and Baldur's Gate 3 is just maybe the diamond example for that. So it's quite really great to hear that also. And sometimes you work with the lead designers for the levels or something.
Of course, all the time. I mean, everybody in the team is connected with everyone else, and that's one of the beautiful things in the company, because we are a company where everyone is able to connect to anyone else, to share ideas, to share thoughts, to give feedback, or to ask for help.
So no restrictions, and that's
no restriction. Of course, we have the rules and we have the pipelines and procedures, but the beauty of it is that anytime you can get in touch directly with anyone else and to share your thoughts, feelings, ideas, anything, because again, we are driven by the same passion to create the ultimate role.
And that's the key element and the most important thing, because great games make like that. So we can say so. And also, great games make for a really long time. Maybe this game is developed from 2016 or something like that, 17 or something like that. So sadly, good games must develop for a longer time. Yeah.
Well, it's normal. I mean, these are huge games.
Of course. It's almost look like an open world game, not a classical open world, but it's a huge and biggest possible levels and territories there, and so many acts. So it's almost look like as an open world game in that way. So it's an epic, huge environmental game. So you need to do more work hours, because it's such a big one, yeah. So and of course a big past, big experiences and from the previous titles. So yeah, but it's a big shoe, they say you must wear, but I think you will grab it.
Thanks a lot, my friend. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And I heard that many musicians and composers don't quite like, music libraries. These are the temps you talk about, I think, or something like that. That some musicians use and composers use temps only and music libraries, and not created their own and recorded their own. But sometimes you need these libraries also as well, no? So some little bits of music or something like that, it fits more well, or you can't do at a position or at a time an orchestra live recording.
At Larian, we don't use any library music.
I think, of course.
We want to be fully unique, and every single bit of music is being composed and produced specifically for the games that we develop. And I'm very, very happy to say so.
I think that way. This is the most lively. Yeah, if you fully recording a theme or a music, it's more fresh, more lively.
Oh, are you talking about the samples, not music libraries? Because I believe I might have got it wrong.
Both or something like both. I don't quite know these
music,
things,
no,
you know.
we don't use music from any libraries. But if you're talking about
samples,
samples,
sometimes.
Sometimes yes. When you need to.
In general, not just in BG3. In general, just.
Oh yeah. In general, there are quite a good professional libraries out there, and it's a combination between using sample libraries and live recordings.
I see.
Simply because sometimes the music, the samples are so high quality and so convincing, and the composition itself is not too complicated. That if you produce with samples, it's the quality.
It's just the basics for the ideas or something like that.
Yeah, but sometimes you definitely need to go for the real deal, especially if the composition is more complicated or more sophisticated. Then you definitely need the input of a live musician and live
or more layered or something like that.
Yeah, so you're right about that.
Sometimes it's a mixture. Yeah.
Yes.
I
exactly.
See. And what is more harder, making music for a character or a general theme, main theme, or a world theme, or a faction, or a territory theme, or something like that? What may be the hardest or the easiest? What's the more fun for you?
Well, the most challenging, of course, is to compose and produce the main themes, simply because when you compose main themes, they are supposed to govern the entire soundtrack by giving an identity, giving a frame, and being, you need such main themes that are easily scalable up, down. A main theme which can easily go in a dramatic way or in a melancholic way. So, of course, for me, the most important and hence more challenging thing is to come up with beautiful, strong, and emblematic for the game main themes. But once you have those in place, you can go any direction you like, and there is nothing like this is easier or that is more easy to produce. It all depends on how much
sometimes
you allow yourself to get inspired and to be driven by the game. But as I said, I'm closely connected on a daily basis with any other team, any other department in the company, the game designers, the cinematic guys, the animation guys, the narrative design team.
That's good to hear, because the connection makes the biggest possibilities. Yeah, it's really great.
This is of utmost importance to be connected with your fellow colleagues.
And I really like the battle teams. There's again a much varied type of music. It's much more action heavy, etc. I really like that.
Very happy to hear it. So you were pleasantly surprised to know that
there were 5 types. I remember on YouTube, but there will be more. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There will be more. And I'm happy that you like the ones that were already released in the early access version of the game.
And maybe these may be changed a little bit, or will be the same at the launch or something like that, or you can't talk about it.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit early to talk about it. That's why we have the early access, to see how it goes and to take decisions based on the result.
But I really liked it, so if you don't change a bit...
If you don't like it, I won't change it, promise.
No. And for the last question, maybe some hints about future projects, or just that there will be some new games in the next year or something like that, something about now, hire some other games or so.
I think it's a little bit early to talk about future games, because as I told you, I'm halfway through Baldur's Gate, which means that next year I will be fully focused on Baldur's Gate 3.
Next year it will be released for sure, yeah?
Well, I don't really know.
Through the end of the year, maybe, yeah. Or for a Christmas gift, a real Christmas gift. But this Christmas will be not the same, sadly.
Real Christmas and real gift, okay? Now you pass this to Sven to tell him.
Because now it's a COVID Christmas, sadly, if I can say so.
Yeah.
Maybe I will. Well, I wouldn't get to meet to my girlfriend or my family, sadly.
I cannot promise you where exactly the game will go out, but I can promise you that it's gonna be a legendary role-playing experience. This I can tell you.
It seems for sure. I think.
Yeah. Well, it was a great pleasure for me, my friend. Thank you so much for taking
me
the time.
Me too for appreciating for the interview, and I think you will be the best choice for the game, and now too for the early release. So I think the music will be just much more evolving and much more better as we progress in the game.
You're very, very kind, and I'm very, very happy to hear it, and that you're enjoying the music already so much.
Thank you, and thank you for the contribution with the Hungarian orchestras, and what a beautiful collaboration.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
And I want to hear the concert soon.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening. Be safe, my friend, and
For you too, thank you.
Stay in touch. Bye-bye.
And have a good week. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Dance upon the stars tonight. Smile and pain will fade away. Words of mine will turn to ash when you call the